Happy holidays to everyone out there in the Webiverse. It is Corey from Unified Masters. So I wanted to wish everyone a merry, well, I celebrated Christmas as a kid, and so I'm going to say happy holidays for the sake of being politically correct, but let today mark, at least for me, the first of many crystalline days, crystalline holidays in which we are offered the opportunity to break out of the old constructs and the consumerism and the lack in the holiday season, in which we feed into those networks that are supporting stress, that are supporting overgiving in materialistic ways, and then still doing all of this action towards feeding others with materialism, and yet still walking away with our soul feeling empty and completely disregarding the heart and the I am presence that's involved in this holiday season, and how it's been skewed and misdirected over such a long period of time in order to keep these looping systems active. And so with that, something that came through this morning, which was really interesting, was, thinking of, once again, I grew up with Christmas, and so we look at Santa Claus and the naughty and nice list. And when I was thinking of the naughty and nice list this year, I was like, man, where would I land on that scale if I were to still be writing my wish list to Santa Claus? And well, I would definitely be on the nice list. But then I looked at, what is the naughty list? What is the worst thing that I can do to myself in the mindset I'm in? What would land me there in the not so nice list? And it's, to me, what came through is adding layering to the I am presence. And when I was unpacking this, it's the naughty list, the I am not, and feeding into that loop, or feeding into that web of lies. It's a structure that builds me into a lacking looping system that will keep me stuck into a limited mentality, keeping me in a framework, keeping me boxed in, closed in, suffocated. Keeps me without, it keeps me in that narrative. Everything I am not, taking away all my power, taking away everything that I am. And then even sometimes adding coloration to the end of the I am can start to maximize that, when we start to recognize that the I am presence just is. The I am presence, the middle path, keeping it simple, and in that is just enough. And so I have to ask myself consciously today, I'm now connected, to a beautiful crystalline network that is being upheld by wonderful beings that are doing a lot of great work. And when I feed into this network, I have to be conscious of what I'm holding and I'm embodied with, as far as what's in my field, what's running in my field, what thought forms are happening, what emotions are stirring into that, because I'm feeding into that network. And when we look at, I've been seeing recently that there's some people that feel like they're stuck in that knot. They're stuck in the I am not, the twists and the turns. And what I want to allow is an opportunity for any being out there who feels like they're stuck in a knot to just untie that knot. Because, see, the thing is that we can keep reaching out externally for people to help us to untie these knots. And I've had many wonderful people that have held space and helped to facilitate in the uncrossing process of self, the uncrossing of beliefs, the uncrossing of the torment and the torture and the trauma that I held that kind of kept me locked in. And what it did is, once again, it fed into a loop. And so with just a little bit of pressure and a nice twist, we turned that cycle into this infinite I am presence. And so I love this kind of way of understanding the cycles and those trauma cycles, those pain cycles that we're in. Once again, just a little bit of pressure and a twist, and we're now at infinity. And this is what has to happen as we are starting to strip out, pull these things out of our field, off of our shoulders, getting them out, ripping them out of our solar plexus, getting our sacral nice and healthy again, opening up the heart, opening up the root, everything involved in the energetic structure of us. Is that we need that pressure sometimes. That pressure will build up because what that collapse does is it allows us to feel so suffocated and confined and in so much pain that we have no option but to choose love. We have no option but to love unconditionally. Sometimes when we are faced with so much pain, okay, and so much trauma, heaviness, density, just sitting on there in this icky black goo that starts to feed into our energy field, we have no choice but to turn to love and no choice but to open up. And so if you want to untie yourself out of these knots, I want to remind those out there that we have a crystalline network that you can connect to, where there are hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people that have untied these knots. And yes, we may not be connected like this network, like the World Wide Web. But when you tap into that infinite being that you are always tapped into this network. And so you can connect to the crystalline grid. You can connect to the crystalline consciousness, and you can call forth those potentialities to appear. How do I get myself out of this knot? And you ask this to the crystalline network, to the crystalline structures. People out there, we're all connected as one in the heart space. And you can just sit there and go, guys, I'm stuck right now and I need help getting out of this. Please help bring forth the action steps that I need to take in order to get myself out of this loop. And then prepare to receive. And when you receive it, if you don't like it, that's okay. That's okay. There are so many times that I received information of what I needed to do to get out of a loop, to get out of the heaviness, and to get out of the fog. And it's not that, what it ended up was that the answers that arrived I didn't want to hear. I was looking for a specific answer, so I wasn't fully open. I was open with expectations. So what happens is when these answers show up about how to untie yourself from whatever is keeping you confined, whether it's confined to home, confined to self, confined to a loop, confined to a stigma, whatever it may be, I ask that you don't be contempt prior to investigation, because this is one of my biggest issues. Is I'll be like calling forth from the universe or from the networks, like, guys, how do I get out of this? And the answer arrives, and I go, nope, that's not what I want to do. Well, it might be the one thing that saves you. And a lot of the time, it's just simply letting go. And I found that over the course of my life, in this lifetime, that the answer to everything was just to let go. I just didn't know how. Because once again, we live in this extremely overcomplicated society, and I do this too because I'm extremely intellectual, and I like to be able to express, since I am a teacher, I like to express vocally in a way that's either extremely simple, extremely colorful, and sometimes extremely complicated, just because that's how I like to stretch my mind. But the process of letting go can be very simple. It's just allowing that to no longer be by changing the thought form. A lot of the time, some of the most profound healing I had happened when I just chose not to think a certain way anymore, and I chose not to act in a certain way. And that took a lot of reprogramming, which was affirmations. You know, if I'm feeling unsafe, just saying, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe. And repeating that over and over and over and over and over until I felt safe. And then that's when I hit 0 point, I hit nominal, or I started to, my my spiritual bank account balance started to go into the positive, and then I could believe it, and then all of a sudden it's embodied, and I no longer have to state that affirmation. And then through practicing self-love and reflecting that outward with love of others, I was able to pull out of that, and then all of a sudden I was embodied in that belief. It was no longer having to like stretch for it and keep pulling it forward and not feeling it. But this is what we have to do sometimes, is we feel like we have to lie to ourselves sometimes to get ourselves out of a situation. And what I mean by lying to ourselves is not bypassing, but if you feel unsafe, tell yourself I'm safe, even if you don't feel like it, because once again, you're in a negative balance. You need to pull that up to zero, and then once you keep making those little deposits of the affirmations and the beliefs, you'll start to embody it and believe it. And this is where it's like, even with things like gratitude, there was a lot of times in my life where I was having to pull for gratitude statements because I just wasn't there. I wasn't grateful. But what happens is, once I hit that zero in the bank account balance, I went from a negative to a zero and started to pull into the positives. What happened was I was no longer pulling for gratitude statements, but I was living in a state of gratitude. And this is what will happen, is when you are depleted of something within your spirit, you have to kind of grab for it for a little while until you live into that state. And so let's look at happiness. If you are in a severe depression, embodying happiness, you're having to kind of pull for it until you're at that zero, and then step into the positive in your account balance. And then because of that, you're in a state of happiness. So then you're no longer pulling. And this is what it takes to get out of these knots sometimes, is just continually walking through it. And we have to keep applying this every single day into our lives, because we are now intentional creators. This requires a greater level of consciousness, a greater level of awareness, and a greater level of trying to get this out. But we aren't trying, we're doing every single day, and that's what leads to embodiment, and that's what leads to the belief getting ingrained in us. And the reprogramming is, we don't try, we do. We do, we do, we do, we do. And then it happens, and then we receive. The action leading to the reception of the belief of the program to pull us out and to get us out of that knot. There's also action steps that we can take, not just by changing the framework, but we can get out, we can go outside, we can treat someone with love. Now, granted, it can be very hard to treat someone with love if we're not embodying self-love. And so what we choose to do is deposit into ourself, and then go out and then reflect that out into the world. And even though sometimes too, I found that when I'm not feeling, I don't love myself, I go out and I show some kindness to someone else, and then boom, I immediately, I feel that within that I was able to do that for someone else, and then I start to embody self-love more. So another action step that you can take is not only changing your beliefs, but you can actually get into physical motion. We're emotional beings, energy in motion. Get into action, however that may be. Keep it simple. Hold the door open for someone. Smile at someone. Tell someone that you wish they have a wonderful day. Wish someone happy holidays. Go volunteer. Go look a homeless person in the eye and tell them that you love them unconditionally and mean it. Buy someone a nice meal. Buy someone a cup of coffee. Send someone a donation. Do whatever works for you towards feeling that within, whatever action step is going to take towards getting you out of that knot. Because some of our biggest blocks are there because we're meant to walk through them. Some of them, those blocks are there because, frankly, it's saving us from going down a certain path, or it's distracting us for a period of time, so we can be able to go within and sort out more of this stuff while the universe prepares our order. So there's layers to this, and we could start to go multidimensional in the perspectives and how everything is kind of intertwined and interlooped. But at the end of the day, coming back to this, look at everything you are, and don't look at everything you aren't. Don't feed into that knot. Remember the I am. Remember that you are an infinite being in a body. Remember that you are powerful beyond measure. Remember that you are magic. Remember that you are divine. Remember that you are a beautiful spirit and form. You're a reflection of God, a reflection of Source. You are an important piece of the puzzle. We need all pieces of the puzzle to come together to create the puzzle that is this. And we're all making our way back home. And so today I want you to know you're not alone. Whether you are struggling or whether you are at the best moment of your life, you are connected to a crystalline network that is here now to support you and to love you unconditionally. And in this network, we treat each other with kindness. We treat each other with respect. We treat each other with compassion. We live in joy. We live in love. We dance. We play. We sing. We're goofy. We're silly. But we're masters. We have the childlike approach to life without the immaturity. You see? We have the play. We have the joy. We have the creation. We have the art. We have the beautiful eyes. The beautiful eyes. But we're here to do this. And we're here to help one another. And we're here to expand. We're here to ascend. And we're here to grow. And so we'll continually do that. And we hold space. We hold space for ourselves. We hold space for others. And if you need a hand, you reach out, and there will always be a hand there. Just say, show me the magic. That's it. Show me the magic. Show me, universe, exactly how wonderful this creation is. Show me how beautiful this world is. Show me how loving people can be. Show me how compassionate others are. Show me how connected we are. Show me the magic. Ask and you shall receive. It's a fundamental law. If you want to keep feeding the show me why this world is dreary, show me why I'm unlovable, show me why I hate myself, the universe will gladly bring that up on a silver platter for you. But it will also bring up everything beautiful about this world to you, as long as you ask. So every morning when you wake up, ask, show me the magic, show me the joy, show me the compassion, show me the love. Show me exactly what I need to see today. Then allow that truth to be exactly what it is. And if you need to take action steps towards correcting or moving or discovering more, do that. And if you're asked to just allow things to be the way they are, then just let it be. Come back to center, drop into the heart. And remember that today is the best day ever. And tomorrow's going to be that too. 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 And it sounds so hokey pokey. And it sounds extremely gummy bear and extremely squishy and a little... It is. But it can be that. It can be that perfect. With just a little switch. A little change of direction. Flip on the light switch. Clarity, truth, love, compassion, joy, interconnectedness. And allow that to be, and then allow that to arrive, and you'll start to see the framework completely change, and your whole world will change, and your relationships will change, and it just gets better. It's very simple. There are many, many, many traps in this system that have been set up to distract you, such as consumerism, such as materialism, such as worry, stress, fear, programs, implants, and it starts to get scattered. But a simple return to and letting that dust settle, bring clarity, open up, we recognize it's very simple. We just let go. We let go of the loops, we let go of the knots. And sometimes it's really not that simple. Sometimes it is a little bit more complicated. And this is where we reach out and we ask for help. You can ask for it in the physical. You could tap into the crystalline networks and you can ask for help that way. You can call in your guidance and ask for help. And sometimes the best action we can take is embodying inaction and just being still and just allowing this to work out in its time. Because best believe it is. We live in an extremely supportive time right now where the energies are allowing these things to work out naturally. And sometimes it's just a timing thing, which teaches us patience. We allow it to dissolve in its time, and we trust and surrender to the fact that this was orchestrated by something way bigger than us. It's in their hands. Let it be in their hands and let them resolve these issues. And so if you're turning things over, if you've reached a state where you've hit your knees and you've asked the universe to intervene, the only thing that's asked of you is to remain patient, to allow the universe to do its job. And this is where we live in faith, we surrender, we trust, and we just allow the process to unfold naturally. And so we allow. So anyways, I wanted to come out and spit this little quantum message as I was being called to step forth with something, and what came out needed to come out, and it's going to reach the ears it needs to reach. And we're injecting this into the hologram. We are injecting this into the quantum field now, and we are now allowing everything to be. We're allowing those that need to find this, and we are uploading the potentiality to be able to remove ourselves from those situations, to untangle ourselves. And if we are going to step into any form of entanglement, quantum entanglement, let's make sure we are entangled, we are connected to people like in the crystalline networks that are filled with purity, that are filled with love, and let that be the infectious joy that meets you on the holidays. So much love and respect to everybody out in the Webiverse. And with that, I'll see you on the other side. Namaste.